So 5 months has passed. Our couples all meet up for the reunion. And to no one's surprise, to literally no one's surprise, Derek and Katie are no longer together. I really felt terrible for him when they both did say yes. I mean, he was so optimistic about things, but you could just tell that she had been looking for an excuse out, a way out, and I mean, what did they say? 2 weeks? They were committed to things for 2 weeks after deciding to stay married together, and that's not okay. I mean, they never should have said yes on decision day. I mean, obviously Derek was going to say yes, but can't wrap my head around why Katie said yes, especially with how everything played out, everything that she said tonight, between her hooking up with her ex, to her friend zoning Derek, to her going for a drink with Zach. It was all just terrible. And I really feel bad for Derek. And, I do. He's one of the few people on this show this season that I really do hope finds love. The other couples, everything is about as you expected. Brandon wasn't there. I didn't really expect Brandon to be there. Brandon and Taylor have restraining orders against each other. That's also not very shocking to me. You have somebody who had multiple temper tantrums, I guess is the easy way to say it, on the show. And basically, Taylor seemingly going around to antagonize him. And the end result is both of them get restraining orders. And the one thing to say here is if a court issues a restraining order for both of them, I think both parties were in the wrong here. And I think the sooner they can both move on from this experience and put this behind them, the better. Micah and Michael, it was the same story. Mika and Michael, pardon me, it was the same story as always. You just don't know what the truth is. When it comes to Michael, like I would like to know the truth. I would just like to know what is reality. Even with going back to the Taylor Brandon situation, like I would like to know what actually happened. I don't want Taylor to sit there and tell her side of the story and have a bunch of people say, yeah, who weren't there, when like there obviously was enough of an incident that, both sides were in the wrong, not just Brandon, but Taylor was also in the wrong. And then on to Mika and Michael, all season long we saw lies, lies, lies. Micah was checked out of that relationship. I've said her name like wrong like 10 times already. So let's just move on from them. They were not my favorite couple. They just seemed like a mess straight from the start. Not really sure how either of them were selected as people for this experience. They neither seemed ready for marriage. Neither seemed to be, I don't know, just in a place where they could fully commit to a marriage. Mindy and Zach. Mindy is another person who, I really hope the best for. She really got the raw end of the stick with Zach because Zach checked out of that relationship immediately. Like he seemed great for about one day, and after that he was done. And I don't think this is a whole thing about him chasing celebrity, chasing the spotlight, wanting all these things, because if that was the case, he would have stayed there for that exposure. He was gone. To hear that Zach asked Katie out for drinks was a little mind boggling to me. Like, this is just another layer to just how terribly everything went for him. Like, even that got thrown in his face at the reunion. And it's just one of those things. Like, why even put yourself in that position? I really wish we would have just heard him say, "I wasn't ready for this. I couldn't handle it, and I checked out." And I think a lot of us would have just accepted that and moved on. Instead, we're trying to make up this whole narrative for Zach and why Zach is doing these things and telling these lies when, he just wasn't there. Who have I missed here? Let's just move on to Austin and Jessica. So glad to hear they're still together. They seem to be doing great. Austin's hair was awful. Might be the worst. It's worse than it was on the season. He just has a straight up mullet now. How did Jessica allow him to have his hair progress to that point? They're so deep in love that she's blinded by his mullet. That mullet is hideous. Then, and like we saw earlier in the season pictures of Austin with his hair cut properly, and he looked really nice. But he insists on having this ridiculous thing like I have in quarantine right now. And just get rid of it, man. Bust out the razor. Get rid of that mully on the back. It's no good. It's not good for anybody. But anyways, jokes aside, so glad to see them still together. They are the one highlight from this season. They will be the couple that future people going on this show are going to look up to as like one of the ideal couples of what they're striving for. And as much negativity and bad relationships we had on this season, it's fantastic to see Austin and Jessica together. I really wish that the people behind this show, all our relationship experts, would have took it a little bit more time to get to know these people before throwing them into the show. And with how bad the cast was this season, it kind of made me wonder, were they looking for people who were going to be part of successful relationships, or were they looking for people who were going to be entertaining on TV? And I've always hoped that this is a show that puts the people first, but this season definitely made me question that, because with seeing everyone and how they behaved all season long, it just makes you scratch your head like, how did these people make the cut? So they did announce Married at First Sight New Orleans. I haven't heard whether they completed that season or if that's going to be good to go still with COVID-19 going on right now. But that is something to look forward to, is another season of Married at First Sight. And the sooner the better, because we are going to start running out of TV here right away. The next season of Married at First Sight will not be significantly impacted by COVID-19. So that must mean that they are either done or mostly done the shooting at this point.
To air in the summer or early fall.
And the new season will come back in late summer or early fall. So that's it for Married at First Sight. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you later.